You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. Welcoming you to take another lap of the extra mile for today, October 19th, 2023. Well, Max Verstappen is in his victory arc. NASCAR is coming down the final stretch. And we had one incredible Petit Le Mans. And to help me talk about all of this, of course, my co-host, Michael Ward. Michael?
Hello, everyone. How are you doing tonight?
Hope everyone's doing great. Taryn Rodriguez already in the chat. Make sure to get your comments in. We will read them as we go on. He says, good evening, gentlemen. The season is coming down to the wire. Let's ride. And I cannot agree more. And it feels like yesterday that we were starting the season at Daytona. We were filled with wide eyes and optimism, and just like the global situation for 2023 as far as F1 is concerned, reality bit us in the rear pretty hard. As, of course, we did miss last week, but Max Verstappen is the champion of Formula One, of course.
Max Verstappen.
Oh, crap. I was supposed to play something.
Yeah, you're supposed to play the Dutch national anthem as we
Yeah, I forgot. I apologize for that. To peel back the curtain.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, to peel back the curtain, I've had busy work things going on. Actually, there was a work event that was on a show night, which was last week, which is why we weren't here. And I have been running around getting ready for other work things, as Michael can see by the hair. You guys can't. So it's been a little busy, but we are back, and I promise we will have that anthem for you here later. But as we get into things, and before we'll quickly go into Formula One to start, the Qatar Grand Prix was ridiculous for many reasons that I don't even know how to describe at this point. Between the heat and the driver safety issues, it was just a bad weekend for Formula One.
Yeah, at first I really liked the track, but now it's after hearing about how much the drivers suffered during the race, I'm not sure I kind of want this track back. I think it's a very good maybe endurance track. The WEC is coming here next week. But as far as a Formula One track, I think it's too much of a strain on the drivers.
Well, the other issue is it's a bike track.
Yeah. For
another thing, and they've got the curves set up for motorcycles, and apparently those were just demolishing the tires. And WEC will actually be at Bahrain, not this track, in a couple of weeks. But
I meant next year. My bad.
Yeah, next year they will be at Qatar, but it was frustrating, especially when they came to this track during the pandemic and put on or not during the pandemic, 2021, put on a really good show.
Yeah, and this year, I guess with all the changes to the car and everything, it made, that much of a demanding race because, I heard about drivers vomiting in their helmets. Sorry to be a little graphic there, but they got so sick that they started getting sick in their helmets, and there was one arm on board. I think it was Charles Leclerc. He, if you look at his onboard, you can see that his neck earlier in the race, his neck is fighting the G's. But then as the race goes on, he's not even trying to fight the G's anymore. He's just trying to survive. That race was, if you say these guys aren't athletes, I'm going to have to deck you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My thing with this race is that it needs to be held earlier in the year.
Yeah.
If we're going to do this. But if we can't get the tire situation settled we probably shouldn't be coming back here.
Yeah. Fun racetrack, but definitely we should do it earlier in the year.
Yeah. So I think that's what they need to do, is either have it right after we go to Bahrain, which, let me bring up the 2024 schedule. They might be doing something similar to that. Because they've got to have it earlier in the year. That's the thing. Because then the temperature won't be as big of a deal.
Yeah, I agree, Daryl.
And unfortunately, next year it'll be in November. So that might be better. We'll probably miss the heat. It will still be warm, but it won't be 50 degrees. At least that is the hope. They'll run it right before Abu Dhabi, because they're going to run, good Lord, November 29th to December 1st. Unless it is a 2021 level championship, we will not be going that far into the season, just to let y'all know, for Formula One. We will not be doing that. But Max Verstappen ends up picking up the win, and now we come
Can I just say, I really hope
Go ahead.
somebody in some team, I don't care who it is, just figures out how to beat Red Bull, because this was embarrassing.
Yeah. The other teams have got to start trying, or they got to do something, because if it's going to be like this up until the regulations change, all of that goodwill and all those fans you've got from the Drive to Survive era are just going to go away.
Yeah, they're going to come over here and watch IMSA with me.
Yep, and we'll talk about IMSA in a little bit. We're getting into the United States Grand Prix, which comes up to this weekend, and Daniel Ricciardo is back from his wrist injury, and this is one of his favorite tracks. He loves it here, and if you've seen all the new Lone Star inspired paint schemes, say what you will about Miami and Las Vegas, but Austin really starting to become a crown jewel event for for Formula One, because the teams are really throwing something special at this event.
Yeah, well, it's the event that really put, I don't want to say it put Formula One on the map, but as far as, the United States, it's definitely put Formula One on the map here in the United States. So I think, it's that event where, teams just want to show off a little bit, get some more attention, because, us Americans, we like to throw money at things we like. So
yeah, this is the race that really resurrected America's love for Formula One. We know how it ended in Indianapolis. Of course, it's led to the expansion in Miami and Las Vegas. Miami, they're trying, but it's not the greatest race. We'll see what happens with Las Vegas here in a couple weeks, but Austin really puts things on the map. But, of course, it wouldn't be Formula One if we didn't have to talk about political BS. So let's get to that real quick before we go to break. First, Formula One has decided, in their infinite wisdom, they're going to up the monetary fine that they can give to drivers to up to $1 million.
Yikes.
I don't know why they're doing this. It makes no sense, other than they're trying to nickel and dime every part of the sport, including the drivers.
I don't know if you heard, Daryl, but the FIA has taken out the fact that you can get super license points for Daytona.
Yeah, because apparently Daytona somehow isn't homologated for the FIA.
Yeah.
Which, okay, go to the track and homologate it when they set it up.
I mean, honestly, it's Daytona. I feel like it should be homologated. I'm surprised it hasn't been already.
Well, because they have their precious Austin and Miami and Vegas, so they feel like they don't have to. This just comes back to the FIA feeling like they're the best and everyone that's not with us sucks. When Daytona has held world-class racing for years, and it's absolutely frustrating.
And many different sports, by the way.
Yeah. Soccer played there, I think, last year.
Soccer, you got IMSA, you got NASCAR. Those are some of the biggest series in the world in Daytona. So I don't know who's making that decision.
Not to mention, we're still trying to figure out, which will take until next year, to figure out whether or not Andretti will be on the grid in 2025 or most realistically 2026. Because I think finishing things for 2024 are going to be a little bit too tight of a schedule to be able to get everything in place for 2025. So we'll probably see them in 2026. Makes more sense because they'll be coming with the new regulations anyway. And at this point, we're all just waiting to see how FOM is going to screw this up. Sadly. And the other question, Michael, is this going to come to the court? Is this going to have to go to the lawyers if they can't get a deal done?
It might have to.
Or let me replace that. If FOM refuses to do a deal.
It might have to, because it just feels like everybody's trying not to let them in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of frustrating, because we always said we need cars on the grid, and now that there's people who want to come onto the grid, we're stopping them from trying to come onto the grid.
Well, we've seen some of, every excuse they've given is simply that, an excuse. Other than we don't want to share the money, which that sounds like an antitrust lawsuit.
Honestly. So,
Formula One's got to get their crap together. But I think we've been saying that since we've been doing this show. So,
yeah,
you can see
the Formula One is more about the politics than it is about actual racing. Hot take, I know, but someone has to say it.
Well, unfortunately, and then we'll go to break, I will say this, and I'll throw it to you because I want to get your input. People discovering the political murkiness of Formula One, that might be why a lot of the fans that have come in from the DTS era, have fallen off.
Yeah, because, a lot of the interesting bits of Formula One happen behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. Dealings in rooms we don't even get to hear about. And yeah, it's not fun to watch on track.
Hopefully the billionaires will get it together so we can actually enjoy this sport, because no one quite... It's similar to baseball. No one hates Formula One more than the folks actively running it. But we're going to take a break. When we come back...
Wait. Quick thing.
Uh-huh.
On a side note, the Ferrari movie actually looks really fun. So
I want to see that.
I want to see the Ferrari movie. That movie looks really good.
Yeah, that comes out on Christmas. I can't wait for that. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into IMSA, and the Petit Le Mans delivered on all levels. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, sports fans? You're listening to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your favorite West Coast Wisconsinite, Bernie Bango, and if you're a cheesehead, come listen to my show, Big Cheese Sports, where we road trip around America's Dairyland, previewing, reviewing, predicting, debating, and digging into all that is Wisconsin sports at the college and pro levels. Join me on IE Sports Radio, Sundays at 1 p.m. Central Standard. Bernie out.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Sports fans, do you like teams that are tough, cities that are tougher, and fan bases that are passionate about their teams? How about teams that are historic and stadiums that are iconic? Then you belong in Chicago, and you need to check out Chi-Town Weekly. Join me, Adam Kernan, every week as we keep up with all things Chicago sports. Bears, Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, White Sox. We'll cover them all, plus more. The Windy City is always buzzing, and we'll keep you up on all the big games and major stories. So tune in to Chi-Town Weekly every week right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Your feed for all that is sports. Daryl and Michael here with you this evening on the Extra Mile, and we will continue. And we're gonna, instead of going straight into NASCAR, we're just gonna talk some sports car racing here in this next segment, and we will start with the Petit Le Mans, and we're gonna talk about. We're gonna turn that off. We're gonna talk about what happened, but Michael, I think it's easier to say. We're gonna talk about. Probably easier to say what didn't happen during this race.
It's funny because a lot happened.
Yeah.
This was one of the great. I'm sorry to cut you off. This was one of the best races this year.
You gotta love it when IMSA goes to the Petit Le Mans because, number one, the track is so narrow, and they've got so many cars. 52 started the race. Within the first 20 or so minutes, they are in traffic that is rivals the traffic you would see at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it doesn't get better for the rest of the race.
It really doesn't. There's traffic. The track is narrow. You have to kind of risk it around Road Atlanta, and well, Daryl, we definitely saw some risk.
Yeah, let's get into that. The highlight of the GTP race happened when the Action Express Cadillac, or not, also known as the Wheel and Engineering Cadillac, and the Wayne Taylor Racing Acura going into turn one at night, championship on the line, Felipe Albuquerque makes an ill-advised move around turn 1, and it goes badly. Car goes off the track, into the wall, race over.
Championship lost for the 4th year in a row at Petit. Not even losing the championship somewhere else at the main race. And they've been defeated again by the Whelen Engineering Cadillac. Daryl, I was talking to you about this during break. I think we witnessed something special. I really do. I think we witnessed a rivalry.
Definitely a rivalry growing here, but I'm still trying to figure out why Albuquerque did what he did. There was no reason to try to make that move around the outside. And I get it. The red mist comes down because you're racing for a championship. But, man, you've got to be smarter than that. Like, you cannot... And this isn't the first time he did that. Remember, when we first started the show...
Oh, at Sebring?
They had
Daytona. Yeah.
They had the issue at Daytona where he kind of drove over his head, ended up out of the race. So it's a thing with him that he gets in these high-pressure situations. And, you know, as a phrase they like to use in stick and ball sports, pressure bursts pipes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with an hour, I think, when did that wreck happen? How much time left was? I think
it was
he
in
had
the last
time.
hour.
It was in the last hour. The funny thing is, he actually got by him at one point, but then, you know, traffic in the 31 got by. I think he was faster than the 31, Pippo Durrani, and I think he actually could have gotten back by him. It's just, I think, like you said, Daryl, the red mist. He felt his opportunity slipping away from him.
I absolutely think he would have had time to get back around him if he just allowed himself to relax, get through turn 1. I think if they get to the second sector, he's going to be able to make a pass again. But unfortunately, he ends up off the track, and the 31 ends up winning the championship. But the win in their last race in IMSA goes to Meyer-Shank Racing in the number 60
race.
Yep.
In their last race. And they were quick all weekend, too.
Yep. They end up bookending the season with championship, or with wins, although their first win of the season was pretty controversial. And that's when they kind of put them out of really championship contention, fought all the way back from the 60-point penalty for manipulating the tire data. And we can have some conversations about whether or not that led to what has happened to where there's be solely focusing on IndyCar. But the Meyer-Shank team, stalwarts of Grand Am and now IMSA, and they're going to be missed.
Yeah, they're going to be missed, definitely.
But meanwhile, in LMP2, CrowdStrike Racing takes the win in the number 14 in a championship race that came down to the final hour where all the championship contenders seemed to have been in the wars at some point.
Oh yeah, there were cars going left and right here in this race. I've seen the championship leaders go off the track or spin a couple times here.
PR1 Matheson, had an opportunity to win the championship. They went off the course. We know another one of the cars had just an awful day with Dennis Anderson. Unfortunately, he ended up causing the wreck that high-class racing, the 20, ended up causing the wreck that put the 6 Porsche out of championship contention. It's a rough day for them, but LMP2, and that class is expanding next year. They are going to be a dramatic category. I think.
Yeah, they might be the category to watch, to be honest with you.
Yep.
A lot of talent in LMP2.
A lot of category. Got the Pro-Ams in there as well. It's going to be fun. WeatherTech Racing takes the win in GT Pro, and GTD goes to... Actually, let me make sure this is right. Yes, this is the race screen. US Racetronics and the Lamborghini Huracan take the win in GTD to end the season. Great run for them. And the last of the LMP3 winners, Junior 3 Racing, that Ligier will be the last winner in LMP3 in the IMSA category. As Larry B's in the chat, it's always a great time on the extra mile. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. LMP3, Michael, going away after this year because there's going to be a huge expansion of GTD Pro and GTD next year and LMP2, and unfortunately, just no more room in the end for LMP3.
You would think how crazy that sounds. You can't get a field in. You can't get in because there's too many teams that want to join. It's a good problem to have,
Yeah, it's not something to complain about. Sports car racing is in a embarrassment of riches when it comes to cars. And we're all excited to see how this expands. And remember that class is only going up in 2025 because remember, GTP is going to be adding Aston Martin, possibly a full-time effort from Lamborghini. Ferrari might come over as well, so there's a lot to be excited about.
If Ferrari comes over, that's going to be fun.
Yes.
That's going to be fun.
Wait.
Maybe they can go for the double crown. 24-hour Le Mans and the Daytona for 24-hour. I would like to see them try that.
Yeah. So let's get into IMSA and the 2024 schedule, what things look like before we get to who the champions were, or who the rest of the champions were. Sports Car 365 has this skinny. 48 cars will run the full season, and we're going to have 57 cars for the 5-race Endurance Cup. 57.
57.
And of course, we're going to have 60 at the Rolex 24. So there are only going to be 3 wildcard spots left for that. 11 GTPs with Iron Links being the only car for the Endurance Series. That is the Lamborghini. The usual suspects will be coming back. Cadillac, JDC Miller, Porsche. Wayne Taylor Racing, who will have a couple of Acuras, BMW, Action Express. All of them will be back in the category. LMP2 will have 12 cars, 11 for the full season, and AF Corsa will join for the endurance races. United Autosports, CrowdStrike Racing, Tower Motorsports, TDS Racing, Era High Class Racing, the second United Autosports car, Sean Creech Motorsports, PR1 Matheson, Riley, and AO Racing will be the full-time cars in LMP2. GTD Pro. Oh boy, you're going to have 10 for the entire series. You're going to be joined by Ford Multimac Motorsports, bringing in a couple of the Ford Mustangs. And in GTD 22, we'll be running the Endurance Cup, or be running with the Endurance Cup. And 21, 20, 19, 18, 17 will be running for the full schedule, with the Iron Links number 60 only running specific events. So you'll have between 16 and 17. This is going to be a crowded field. This is going to be a high-quality field. And if you've never watched IMSA before, this is the time to get into it, because you're going to see some incredible racing next season.
Yeah,
Michael,
go ahead.
I was going to say, which class are you most excited for?
Of course, I love GTP, but I think I'm gonna watch closely at GTD. Honestly, Daryl,
Hmm?
I've been really liking GT3 racing, so of course I might get into GT3 racing when I undertake sim racing. I might pick up a set of course of competizione and iRacing and all that. So I might follow GT3 closely so I can see how they operate.
And I'm going to be watching GTD Pro because that is going to be a fun category with the Ford and Chevy rivalry. Back again in endurance racing, this time in GT3 cars. That is going to be bragging rights on the line between those two, and I cannot wait.
Can't wait either. I think there's going to be a lot of good racing, and I can't wait to see if the rivalry between Wayne Taylor Racing and Action Express continues to heat up in the next season.
So we do have some WEC news as well. Alpine's going to be doing some testing soon, and Mick Shumacher of Mercedes reserve driver fame going to be testing with them. And I cannot wait to see, and it's a possibility that he could run with the Alpine team next year.
Do you think this is going to be his ticket back into Formula One?
It could be, or it just could be him actually getting a run in some actual competitive machinery next year. I mean,
I think this could be like a whole new, thing for him. Honestly, like a whole new sport he can, potentially compete and thrive in.
It would be fun to see him be competitive, and that might build up his confidence for when he eventually comes back to Formula One, provided he does get a seat. Because I think it's going to do better for him if he is racing than he is just sitting in the back of the garage on the weekend just watching.
Awkwardly standing by Toto's side, like, hey, remember me?
Yeah.
Remember me, guys? I'm the son of Michael Shumacher. Remember me? I swear, when the camera just does that to the reserve driver, I'm just like, yes, we remember you. You're not forgotten.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But unfortunately, with the positive, there is a negative. Unfortunately, we are saying goodbye to Glickenhaus, who have decided they are not going to continue challenging in WEC. And unfortunately, Michael, that's a team that never really got off the ground, if we're going to be honest.
Yeah, they never got off the ground, and I felt like they had potential if they just, allowed themselves to have that time. But did they say why they were pulling out?
Jim said that unfortunately, due to how much it costs to be competitive, it wasn't worth it to the team. It would actually take away from other projects. So he's deciding to step away.
I don't own a race team, so I can't really say, but I would have continued to,
Well, the other problem is when you burn so many bridges that Jim unfortunately has, this is what happens. And he couldn't really find a lot of help, and now Glickenhaus becomes the first of the hypercars to bow out. But all is not lost. We do have plenty of cars coming to take their seats, and we'll see how things go in the future. So we're going to take our final break of the evening. When we come back, we will be talking NASCAR, and we will be getting ready for the final 3 races of the season with Racing in Homestead. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Rate, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. They're coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From where we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We are back here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports with the extra mile. Daryl and Michael here with you this evening as we get into our final segment. Of course, that is NASCAR. We'll start with a quick review of Las Vegas, and we've got our first driver into the championship for Michael. It is Kyle Larson took the win at Las Vegas over Christopher Bell.
Yep, it was a close race, wasn't it?
Yeah, Christopher Bell was really closing down the time over the last few laps there against Kyle Larson in the South Point 400. Got there on the last lap, just wasn't close enough to make the move happen. He did manage to get under Kyle Larson, couldn't complete the move, and a lot of folks are saying that he should have gotten there and moved him. I don't know if he would have been able to do that without wrecking himself, but do you think Christopher Bell should have thrown the bumper at Kyle Larson there at the end?
No. No. Not well. If he did, there's the potential that he wrecks himself.
Mm-hmm.
And, with this close to a championship, I don't think that would have been the move.
Excuse me. But as you said, being this close to the championship you can't take a risk like that.
Yeah.
And with the distance they put over their competitors, it really wouldn't have been beneficial to go down there and try to make that move, and it fails. And you've taken each other out and make the next two races a lot harder. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Ross Chastain rounded the top 5. Ryan Blaney finished 6th, was disqualified, and then finished 6th again after NASCAR ruled that the measurement on the shock, I think it was the right front shock, that originally said it was too short, was in error. So Blaney gets to keep his 6th position, and it makes this championship fight a lot easier going in the next two races because, Michael, if that disqualification had held, Blaney would have been in a must-win situation.
Yeah, he definitely would have been in a must-win situation.
Yep. So Larson is the first one in. Byron is 9 up. Truex 2 up, tied with Denny Hamlin. That is your championship 4 as it sits. Christopher Bell 2 back. Tyler Reddick 16 back. Ryan Blaney 17 back. Chris Buescher 23 back. Those are the guys trying to get in. Now, Chris Buescher, I think, had the worst day of everyone as Buescher just was not there on Sunday. Ended up finishing, get the results page back up, I'll tell you in just a minute. Didn't have a good finish. Ended up now in a pretty big hole going into this weekend in Martinsville.
Yeah, and Daryl, remember, he was my dark horse pick for this season.
Oh, well, he didn't finish that. He ended up finishing 11th, which for the championship 8 at this point, not too good. And he's got a lot of work to do. And really, I'm surprised he finished that high because despite starting 5th, he was really nowhere once that race got started.
Yeah, he's got to pick up the pace because a lot of these other teams, they're picking up the pace.
Yeah, he was your dark horse for the championship. He was kind of my dark horse as well, and it would be upset for him not to make it.
Oh, without a doubt.
So we will see how he does this weekend in Homestead as we get ready for this race. This is the track that should still be the championship finale. Like, can we agree with that?
I've been saying this every year.
It's just such a good track. It doesn't make sense for us to not be here and running the championship.
We're really going to a track that can barely pass.
Yeah. And I know Phoenix did all the work to make the track better, but Homestead's got multiple grooves. It really reminds me of what Atlanta would have been like if they had put progressive banking on it. It's just such a fun race, and you're going to see them if this race goes late enough to where the sun comes down. It really has the feeling of a championship finale, and I hope we can get back to a championship finale here.
I think it should have stayed as a championship finale.
I do too. There's so many good moments here. Tony Stewart winning that incredible 2011 championship. Kurt Busch losing the tire, still winning the 2004 championship. Jimmy Johnson in 2016 becoming the 7-time champ with Carl Edwards, unfortunately, getting wrecked out by Joey Logano and deciding to bow out of the championship. We saw Jeff Gordon retire here with a third-place finish. Jeff came in with a chance to win the championship. Such wonderful memories of Homestead, Miami, and most of them as the season finale.
Yep. Fantastic track for NASCAR.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get back to the championship finale. But, Michael, who do you think has the advantage going into this weekend?
I don't know. I mean, I want to say Bell because his qualifying pace has been really good, but he has been having, in my opinion, a Charles Leclerc 2022 season where he gets a lot of poles, but he doesn't get the win.
Yes.
You know, it's like you need to transfer that Saturday pace to Sunday pace.
Yeah, he's got to definitely got to pick it up. Or I won't say he's got to pick it up. He is close to getting into the championship four without a win, but man, he has really, really got to pick up a win. I think if you want to get in, I would not want to be going to Martinsville trying to fight for that spot, which we've already seen. Folks will do whatever it takes to win a champion or to get in the championship.
Martinsville being the cutoff race for the championship four, I think that needs to stay.
Yeah, we're not going to see another Hail Melon, unfortunately, because they've banned that. But somebody is going to try something, and it's going to be interesting to see that, but I would not want to be in that position of having to go to that race and trying to win. So I would try to get it done here at Homestead. And the driver I think has the advantage is Tyler Reddick. I really think that he is going to have an opportunity to go in there and pick up a win because he's another one of those guys that likes running the high side, and this is a great track, multi-groove, where you can get that done. So I think Tyler Reddick is going to have a good day on Sunday.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, actually.
Yep. Well, I guess it is about time for us to put our money where our mouths are, as it is time for Nearest the Win. We've got Formula One and NASCAR this weekend. So, Michael, who you got?
For Formula One, I don't even know how many picks I have. I guess I'll go Sargent.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a good hometown run, hometown hero. And NASCAR, I'm gonna go with Byron because Byron manages to be there when you least expect it.
Yeah, Byron does tend to show up when you do not expect him to be there. I am going to go Fernando Alonso in Formula One. And as far as NASCAR, I'm going to take Tyler Reddick to take the win this weekend.
Okay, good choice. I wanted to go Reddick too, but I didn't want to jinx him.
Yep. So, good luck to your favorite drivers this weekend. As Michael, we are now 3 weekends to the end of the show for this weekend or for this season.
Yep, it's sad, but you know what, folks? We will be back next year as always.
Yes, I cannot wait to get back next year. We might have some expanded things going on next year as well. I might be in a much better position to do some things for the show. Fingers crossed.
I think we all could be in a better position next year.
Yes,
to make a lot of things happen for the show. So, fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of good things might happen next year.
Yep. So we will see what happens, but we're going to get ready to get out of here. Remember, you can follow me at DKJunior12, Michael at Michael_Wart25. If you want to talk to us on Twitter, don't forget to follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter /X, and TikTok. And don't forget to follow the show page as well, Extra Mile IE Sports Radio or Extra Mile Pod, depending on where it is. And don't forget to follow the IE Sports Radio pages as well. And if you missed any episode of any IE Sports Radio show, make sure, or you can hear them anywhere you get your podcast, as well as the YouTube repository, which has a copy of every episode we've ever done. And also, make sure to check out iesportsradio.com, find out more about the shows, listen to episodes of every iSports Radio show, buy some merch, and get involved on the forum. So I'll do it for this episode of The Extra Mile. For Michael and Daryl, thank you so much for listening. We will see you at the next green flag. Good night, everybody.